Hey, Cavs fans, Spencer German, Spencer Davies, a little Spencer squared once again out here at practice for the Cavaliers as they get ready for the start. Officially, it's finally here, Spencer. The regular season gets rolling against the Brooklyn Nets on Wednesday night. Team will hit the road, obviously, tomorrow. But in the meantime, we had a chance to catch a little bit of the end of practice, talk to a few players today. I think the first thing to note for fans out there, obviously, is just the status of Jared Allen. We saw him shooting threes, believe it or not, at the end of practice. And we asked JB Bickerstaff about, what he did today, how close he is, and JB made it pretty clear that was about the extent of what he did at practice that day, which was kind of just some light work.
Yeah, just light work, guys, and don't fall over yourselves. It's not because Jared Allen's going to be taking a bunch of threes. It's pretty much just getting some work in, and honestly, just making sure that he can move around on that ankle, the left ankle bone bruise, as we know, and hopefully he'll be back sooner than later. But the fact that he's been working out after practice with the coaches and with some of his teammates, I think, is a good sign. And we'll see if he practices on Tuesday, which is tomorrow. And if he does, then maybe he'll be able to try to give it to go on Wednesday. But we're a little too ahead of that. Let's take it one step at a time. And we've seen what Evan Mobley's been capable of at the five, and what Damian Jones can provide as well. So, but for Jarrett himself, it's good to see him back out there, just physically helping out.
For sure. And I do think, too, JB said, he wants to get him at least one full practice before he'd play him in a game. So unless he plays tomorrow, don't expect him to be out there on Wednesday night. But I will say, too, it's the start of the season. Like, this is the time of year where you have the luxury not to force guys back too soon, and you can kind of give them that time to kind of heal up. I do wonder, too, Spence, if this gives the Cavs a chance to test out a little bit like what a smaller lineup could look like and have that as something that they deploy later in the season.
Yeah, no, and I think they've been doing that in preseason. Honestly, you have Max Strus out there, George Niang. You can put Karras out there, Ty Jerome, whoever you want to around Evan. Right? You can put four shooters around him, and with the moves that they've made this offseason, that's a possibility now. I feel like you can, run as much as you want. You can put three guard set in there. You can do tall ball with Damian Jones or with Tristan Thompson. You have a lot of options with Evan Mobley, and again today, it's been the theme throughout the entire training camp, has been talking about Evan Mobley and his growth in year three, and what he can bring to the table as a playmaker, as somebody who can get inside and really create his own space, as somebody who can be a facilitator, whatever it may be, and whatever they need from him. He's going to be able to do it. And I think, that part, and gives you a little bit more comfort knowing, Jared Allen could take his time if necessary to come back. But I mean, you're going to see them play next to each other regardless at some point here soon. So it's a good, you never want to see your teammate go down, but it's a good opportunity for Evan Mobley to show a little bit more of his versatility.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it's been the biggest talking point really all offseason leading up to training camp and now into the regular season is Evan Mobley's development. And really, he is at the core, I think, of just the identity of this team coming into this year. We always say, like, his development is the key to how far the Cavs go this year, next year, and beyond. But I think we've seen some in the preseason of some of the different style that they want to play with. And JB Bickerstaff talks specifically about it today. Like, ball movement is key. That pace of play is key, and we've seen that in the preseason that they certainly play with a lot more patience. What are you expecting to see? If it's those things, but maybe elaborating or others, that what are you expecting to see from this team in terms of the identity and the style that they play with?
Rebound and push. You're going to get a stop, you're going to rebound, you're going to push. If you don't get a stop, you're going to push it from the inbound, right? You're going to be able to make these guys run. You will still see some stuff in the half courts, but in the half courts, got to be a lot different than the pick and roll heavy stuff we're used to with Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, and little space, right? This season, you're going to have Max Strus running around, streaking there, George Niang out on the perimeter, whatever it may be. Ty Jerome, Karis LeVert's been, a 3-point threat for the last year. So there's a lot of different options they can have on the offensive end. For me, it's just to see how quickly they get up and down. And JB Bickerstaff mentioned it last week, and I think I said it on our last stand-up. He wants to cross half court within 3 seconds, 3 real seconds, which it seems like it's a very little amount of time, but that allows you to get your offense going towards the bucket, and the defense doesn't get a chance to get set. So it's a smart thing to do, and I feel like with this pace, with the amount of stress they've put on these guys' legs in training camp, it's time to put it to the test.
Yeah, and also just being a young team, it's a staple in the NBA. You see a lot of these teams pushing, like you said, and because they're a younger team, I think people kind of wonder the last couple of years, like, why aren't they pushing more? And now the fact that they're sort of tapping into that, I think, is going to benefit them immensely. So you'll certainly see that night one. Another thing you'll see year two of Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland playing alongside each other. We got a chance to talk to Donovan today, and he kind of talked about that and how they, it takes time to kind of feel each other out, and how he can say to Donovan, or to Darius rather, hey, I want to do this specific thing, or I like this specific thing, but it takes all those reps and all that time together to kind of work it out on the court. Just what are you expecting to see from those two this year in year two together out there on the floor?
I think they're going to have a lot more room to work with, man. I really do. And
the presence of Max Strus is going to help with that immensely.
It just goes back to Max Strus. It goes back to George Niang, who you asked about when Donovan was giving you that answer. So, like, honestly, when they have more room to work with, that's just going to create more havoc for the other defenses to see and try to, like JB Bickerstaff always says, make tough decisions on what poison they're going to pick. Because we know Donovan Mitchell is one of the best scorers in the NBA. We know that Darius Garland has just such a wizardry-like ability to fake whether it's a floater or a high handoff. He has that. He's almost like a read option with him, right? You're going to have another like option play with Evan Mobley and Max Strus up top to be able to, whether it's a dribble handoff, whether it's he dives to the bucket and Max Strus finds him in the pocket, whatever it may be. But that just opens it up for Darius and Donovan to do what they do. And Donovan, when he's working with room, he talked to us about it with the Jazz. He had Bojan Bogdanovic, he had Royce O'Neal, guys that were able to, Joe Ingles, Kyle Korver, yeah, exactly, is who he was harkening back to when he was talking about Max Strus. Now,
Cavs legend, by the way.
Cavs legend Kyle Korver, movement shooter that the team hasn't had in 5 years now. It's crazy how time goes by that fast. But no, with Donovan, I feel like when he has more room to work with and he's able to show that skill set, you're not going to see a lot of isolation as we're used to, like we were seeing with Donovan last year coming off of one screen. There's going to be multiple screens. There's going to be multiple threats on the floor that now they're going to have to worry about them just a little bit more, which gives Donovan free reign pretty much to do what he wants and dribble towards.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Another thing to keep an eye on for you as the Cavs season gets rolling against the Brooklyn Nets on Wednesday night. They got one more practice under their belts tomorrow, and then it's go time. It's time to start the regular season. So I know Spence is excited about it. I know I'm excited about it. You can be sure to check out all of our work over at CavsInsider.com, CavsInsider_FN. Follow Spence on Twitter, Spin Davies, and you want to plug your mailbag?
Yes,
right?
yes. No, I'm going to do a mailbag every day. You guys just please send them in at Spin Davies. Just give me your questions, Cavs questions every day. And that includes my email, which is spindavies22@gmail.com. Please send them in, and I'm more than happy to answer them.
Excited to see how that goes, and to certainly field your questions. You can follow me on Twitter as well, at Spencito_. Until next time, we'll talk to you guys in the next couple of days. Cavs obviously on the road to Brooklyn. They return home for their home opener on Friday, and into the weekend Saturday. They got a back-to-back home games coming for you. So stay tuned for much, much more over at CavsInsider.com. Until next time, go Cavs.